परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् साधन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा हाथ पर
की बजायो
आया ओके
की बजायो जयो गौरा चंदे आरती का शोभा જાનવી તટવને જગમન લોભા જય ગોરચંદ હરોતિક શોભા જાનવી તટવને દાખીને નેતાય ચાંદ બામે ગદધારા નિકટે અદ્વૈત શ્રીની બસ છત્રધારા ગૌરચાંદ રત્ન સિંહાસન આરતી કરે ના બ્રહ્મા આદિ દેવગણ છે ગૌરચાંદ રત્ન સિંહાસન આરતી કરે ના બ્રહ્મા આદિદેવ નર હરિ આદિ કોરી ચામરડુલાયા સંજય મુકુંદ વાસુ ગૌશ અધિગાયા હરિ 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 ચામરડુલાયા શંખ ભજે ઘંટ ભજે માધુર માધુર ભજે શંખ ભજે ઘંટ ભજે માધુર 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 ભજે ચંદ્રજીને વાદન ઉજ્વાલા ગાલા દેશે વનમાલા કોરે જ્વલમાલા કોટી ચંદ્રજીને વાદન ઉજ્વાલા ગાલા દેશે વનમાલા કોરે શિવ શુકનારાધા પ્રેમે ગદધારા ભક્તિ વિનોદાધિકે ગૌરાર સંપાધા શિવ શુકનારાધા પ્રેમે ગદધારા ભક્તિ વિનોદાધિકે ગૌરાર સંપાધા Jagajanavana Gaurange Aratika Shobha Jagajanavana Loba Nitai Kara Haribo Janamana Loba Nitai Gaura Haribol 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Sitaram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman Sitaram Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilartankanakalaye. Ito Narsimho, Bharato Narsimho. Narsimho, Yato, Yato, Yamitato Narsimho. Yato, Vahe Narsimho, Hridaye Narsimho. Narsimho, Narasingamadim Sharanam Prapate. Tavakara Kamalavare Nakha Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Vringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare. Tavakara Kamalavare
No, no, no. Which way? This way. Okay, you lead it, yeah?
No, no. Tem muito tudo também.
I'm moving back so you can speak there.
Oh, I thought it was already done.
Oh, okay, sorry, I just... Is it on now? I just thought I'll set up.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradari Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradari Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Munatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Jai Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagavan ki, Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Bhagavan ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today, for today's Gita class, we'll be reading from 6.39, so chapter 6, verse 39. And so we will repeat the verse line by line. So feel free to get it up on your phone. There's some Gitas back there as well, if you want to. Pardon? 6.39. Okay, so I'll begin with the verse. And you can repeat after me, line by line. Etan me samshayam Krishna. Etan me samshayam Krishna. Chetam arhasya she sataha. Tvadanya samshayasyasya. Chetana hyuputapadyate. Hyupupadyate. Etan me samshayam Krishna. Chetam arhasya shesh sataha. Tvadanya samshayasyasya. Chetana hyupupadyate. Etan me samshayam Krishna. Chetam arhasya shesh sataha. Tvadanya samshayasyasya. Chetana hyupupadyate. So, feel free to. Etan me samshayam Krishna. Chetam arhasya shesh sataha. Tvadanya samshayasyasya. Chetana hyupupadyate. Etan me samshayam Krishna. Chetam arhasya shesh sataha. Tvadanya samshayasyasya Cetana hyupapadyate. Anyone else? No worries, no pressure. Etan me samshayam Krishna Chetam arhasya she sataha Tvadanya samshayasyasya Cetana hyupapadyate. So translation. Etat, this is, me, my, samshayam, doubt, Krishna, O Krishna, Chetam, to dispel, arhasi, you are requested, ashe sataha, completely, tvat, than you, anya, other, samshasyasa, of the doubt, asya, this, cheta, remover, na, never, he, certainly, upadyate, is to be found. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. You can repeat after me as well. This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Purport. Krishna is the perfect knower of past, present, and future. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said that all living entities exist individually in the past, they exist now in the present, and they continue to retain individual identity in the future, even after liberation from the interior entanglement. So he has already cleared up the question of the future of the individual living entity. Now, Arjuna wants to know of the future of the unsuccessful transcendentalist. No one is equal to or above Krishna, and certainly the so-called great sages and philosophers who are at the mercy of the material nature cannot equal him. Therefore, the verdict of Krishna is the final and complete answer to all doubts, because he knows past, present, and future perfectly, but no one knows him. Krishna and Krishna-conscious devotees alone can know what is what. Om Jnanatirmandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashyatyate Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Hare Krishna. So yes, today we're reading from 6.39. I'll read the translation just one more time. So Arjuna is saying, "This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt." So yeah, this is a really nice verse from Arjuna directed towards Krishna. And in summary, Arjuna is just telling Krishna that he is the only one in the entire material and spiritual universe who can destroy all of our doubts in life. So he is asking Krishna, pleading to Krishna to help him dispel his doubt. And now, what exactly is this doubt that Arjuna is asking Krishna to dispel? So that's given actually in the verses before it. So I thought just for context, we can explore exactly what Arjuna is expressing as his doubt. So if you see from 2 verses before, from text 37, I'll just read those 2 verses before. So text 37, Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism?" Then Arjuna goes on to say, "O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere?" So these are Arjuna's doubts. Arjuna is basically asking to Krishna, like, what happens to someone who decides to completely renounce material life and take up a spiritual process, Krishna consciousness, some sort of spiritual life, spiritual path, but then he kind of falls down from that spiritual path and he's in this like weird no man's land middle ground where he's renounced material life but he's fallen from spiritual life. And what happens to him? What's his position in when, where does he go? So this is Arjuna's doubt which he's asking Krishna. And Krishna later on in future classes will hear how he sort of clears up those doubts. He'll mention points how someone like this, there is not really a massive loss because in their next life they'll be born in a rich, pious family. He gets 3 options actually. They'll either be born in a rich family, or they'll be born in a family of transcendentalists. And alongside both of that, this person will have a natural inclination for spiritual life. So Krishna goes on to explain all of this and clear Arjuna's doubts afterwards. But today's verse is specifically about Arjuna expressing that doubt to Krishna. So we're going to be focusing on that topic of doubt in spiritual life, doubts in Krishna consciousness, and how we can get out of the drought of doubt. That is not a phrase I coined myself. I got that from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. But yeah, how can we get out of the drought of doubt? And in order to, come free from doubt, what do we need to do? What do we need to have? Does anyone know, what would you say is the opposite of doubt? You can shout it out. Knowledge, okay, that's a good answer, yeah. Anyone, any other answers? Certainty, okay, that's nice. Faith, yeah, faith, exactly. That's what I first thought of faith, but all those other answers are correct as well. But yeah, faith, so we can get out of this drought of doubt by developing faith. But then the question asks, okay, so how do we develop more faith? And I think Sutta Prabhu, who was giving a Bhakti Shastri class like quite a few months ago, and he mentioned that faith comes from within. It's an internal thing, and it's having strong conviction and complete surrender that Krishna is our only shelter in life, and that's real faith. Having that strong conviction that Krishna is the only one who can protect us. He's our only shelter. And he gave the example of a parent and their baby. So just like a parent, imagine your father, your mother, and they have their baby in their hands. And sometimes to play with the baby, they'll throw the baby up in the air, right? And what does the baby do when you throw the baby up in the air? Exactly, it laughs, it smiles, it giggles, and it does that because the baby has complete faith that the mother is protecting him or her. It has complete faith that he will be caught and everything will be fine, and so the baby laughs, and yeah, it's all done because of faith. So that's like, I guess, more like the abstract level we want to strive for, that complete shelter. But practically, how do we develop that faith? And again, Sutta Prabhu, he gave 3 different points on how we can practically develop faith in our spiritual lives. He said the first point is reading, so reading philosophy. The second point he says is associating with those who have faith. And the third thing we can do to, develop our faith is practice, spiritual practice. And he goes on to say that, the best, level of practice is when we're at the stage of nishtha. So nishtha means steady. And when we have that steady spiritual practice in our everyday lives, that's sort of the best practice we can do. And that's when we can actually get realizations. So he mentioned those 3 points, reading philosophy, associating with those who have faith, and spiritual practice. And all of us sitting here today in the class, in person, we're all currently staying here at the manor. We have this wonderful opportunity to be here at the Bhaktivedanta Manor, staying in the ashram. And all these 3 things is something that we basically do on a daily basis, And we're very, very lucky to have that. And just being here, following the process, will naturally over time develop that faith. For me personally, on these 3 points, I think the thing that helped me get the most faith during my stay here at the manor has been associating with those who have faith. Again, we're so lucky to be with so many senior devotees here at the manor, who all have such strong faith in so many things within Krishna consciousness. A few examples came to mind. First was, Srinivas Prabhu, a very senior devotee here, and he just has, when I think of him, I just think of someone who has unflinching faith in the holy name. Ananta Gopal Prabhu, another amazing devotee here at the manor, he has unflinching faith that Krishna's hand is in his life every day, and that Krishna's there looking after him. He's always saying amazing stories about Krishna magic and how he sees Krishna in so many different ways in his life. So again, all from that unflinching faith. And Sutta Prabhu as well, another amazing senior devotee, and he just has complete unflinching faith that in Srila Prabhupada, and that we can go back to Godhead if we just serve sincerely in Srila Prabhupada's mission. And so yeah, many devotees here who have that unflinching faith. And for me personally, I don't have that consciousness where I can be receptive enough to experience or see Krishna, in my everyday life and build faith through that. But for me, my faith comes from speaking and associating with the others over here who are experiencing Krishna directly in their lives. And that gives me, faith that the process works, just by associating with these other devotees, hearing from them, and just observing them, their character, their behavior, and their daily lives. So for me, that personally is what gives me faith. So yeah, we can get out of this drought of doubt through faith, and those are some practical things we can do whilst we're all here to develop that faith, and we can tackle that doubt. Now, another aspect of doubt I was kind of thinking about was the concept of self-doubt. So sometimes we might not be specifically doubting maybe Krishna consciousness or the words of Krishna, but we might be doubting ourselves actually, and we might be lacking ability or lacking confidence with our abilities or within ourselves. I personally was going through a period like this where I was kind of self-doubting myself in a lot of things that were normally quite natural, easy for me. Things like just interacting and speaking with people one-on-one, or speaking in public. There was a period where I was self-doubting my abilities in these things. And so I thought, okay, how can I overcome this? And I think probably the first thing I did, the only thing I knew what to do was, let me just pray to Krishna that I'm experiencing this, and pray for his help and guidance. And it was really interesting because very soon after doing that, I just felt like Krishna arranged for me to get involved with services that would directly help me overcome these barriers I was facing. So the one about just interacting and speaking with people, literally soon after I was praying to Krishna about this, a week or so after, I was asked to go on book distribution for a week in Southampton. So it was a really, really amazing opportunity for me. It was something I've never done before, I've never really at that time did pure book distribution, where you're just going up to someone, speaking to them one-on-one, and just talking to them about Krishna consciousness and trying to sell them a book. For me, that was the perfect thing I could have done to overcome this issue, this self-doubt I was feeling. It definitely gave me a big increase in my confidence, and it's the best thing that that I could have done to help with that. So Krishna definitely helped me destroy the doubt in myself by giving me a service like that and just arranging for that to happen. Another thing as well, like speaking in public. Again, I was going through all of this self-doubt. I was like, I don't think I have the ability to do that anymore. Like, I just felt like, a lot of self-doubt within that area of public speaking. And again, soon after, Krishna just arranged for devotees to reach out to me, and they started asking me like, oh, can you help MC for this program a few different times? And that's something I haven't been asked in probably like a year now. But now when I'm going through this period of like, oh, I don't want to specifically do that, now suddenly that all comes up. So I just saw that as, Krishna is giving me that opportunity to just, to take it up and give it a go. And so I got asked to do things like that. I got asked to then give classes as well, again, which is something that hadn't happened in some time. And then by doing these things, I feel like I was able to, by Krishna arranging for these things to happen, I was able to, battle that self-doubt that I was facing. And it made me just reflect how Krishna consciousness is just so amazing, because, we have so many opportunities, service opportunities here that can help us overcome whatever we're facing. And being here at the temple is the best way to kind of work on ourselves, improve on ourselves, and tackle things like self-doubt. So yeah, that was just a bit about self-doubt. And then I was also thinking on this topic of doubt, how actually we can use doubt to our advantage. When we think of doubt, usually we think of something bad, like, okay, it's something you shouldn't have, it's a negative quality. But actually there is a positive side to doubt. And the Bhagavatam talks about this point of having intelligent doubt. So there's one verse from 3:26-30, and it goes, Samshayota viparyasyo nischaya smritirevacha swapa iti uchyatte buddher lakshanam vrita pritak. And the translation is, doubt, misapprehension, correct apprehension, memory, and sleep, as determined by their different functions, are said to be the distinct characteristics of intelligence. So basically, doubt is actually one of the characteristics of having intelligence. And so it's not actually all a bad thing. We can use doubt in a positive way in our Krishna consciousness. The purport, at the start of the purport, Prabhupada says how doubt is one of the most important functions of intelligence. Blind acceptance of something does not give evidence of intelligence. Therefore, the word samshaya is very important. In order to cultivate intelligence, one should be doubtful in the beginning. So essentially, we can use doubt as something favorable to our Krishna consciousness. So whether it's questioning things that we might not understand, it's okay to do that. It's okay to have that doubt. And naturally, when we first come into Krishna consciousness, we all have doubts about things, and we should use that. It's as Prabhupada says, as the Bhagavatam says, it's a distinct characteristic of our intelligence. So we can use that in an intelligent way to question things and that we don't understand. And if we do that, if we question things by being doubtful, then that can help us build more faith and conviction. And when we get an answer back, I think that's what basically helps us build that faith. So it's important that we use doubt in an intelligent way, and that's why it's also very important to ask questions, because you're using that doubt to get an answer and increase your faith. And that's exactly what Arjuna is doing right now in this verse. So he's experiencing this doubt, but using it in a positive, intelligent way by submissively and humbly asking Krishna about this doubt and to clear it up. And this is something I know I need to do more of, but for me, I get very inspired by when I see other people who are very enthusiastic to ask questions. Many of the people here I know from Bhakti Shastri and just from PS that always asking really good questions. I think recently me, Akash and Himesh, we've been discussing a lot and asking different devotees about japa specifically, because we had lots of doubts about, what's the right way to chant, and what does this mean, what does that mean, how does this all work? And so we've been asking, devotees about japa, because I think we were confused because, sometimes we hear that, for japa you should just hear the holy name and that's it, just focus on the name and just listen, just use it as to listen. And on the other hand, sometimes we hear that, when you chant, we should chant with like a mood, like a baby crying out for its mother, with our heart. We should have meditations when we chant, meditate on different things. And we were discussing how isn't this like a contradiction? And we had some doubts about it. However, after each of us respectively asking different seniors and stuff, and then coming back together, and questioning these things, and then we discussed it. We realized that actually both these things are correct. It's not like it was a big contradiction like we once thought. Actually, we do just need to listen, but at the same time we can also chant with a mood, and that mood doesn't mean that you stop listening. Actually, that mood can help you listen more attentively, and they actually kind of go hand in hand, and we can synergize the two things together. And so yeah, that's just an example of how having doubt, we can use that in a positive way by asking questions and receive receive an answer that will help us build more faith. And now we have the opposite. The opposite of intelligent doubt is just blind doubt. Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, again, I was just watching a quick video of his earlier today. He talks about how spiritual life is basically just a battle, battling out. He says spiritual life is two things, actually. One is battling our doubts and then protecting our faith. And so the solution, he says, is that we should doubt your doubts and believe your beliefs. So if we should doubt your doubt, you should doubt your doubts and believe your beliefs. But actually what ends up happening is we often doubt our beliefs and we believe our doubts. And if we believe in our doubts, it's not really beneficial or useful to us, because it will just make us reject everything and treat it as wrong, and we'll never actually get to know what's right. We can only know what's right if we have doubt at the start and then inquire. But if we're just having blind doubt and we just reject everything, we're not going to get any answers in life. He gave the example of like a patient. So imagine you're a patient and you're sick, and you go to all these doctors, but you doubt all of the doctors and you just reject all of them and the prescriptions that they're giving. You just say that all your prescriptions are wrong, I don't trust you guys, and you just don't question it, you just reject everything. If you do that, you're never going to know what the right treatment is, and you're never going to get better, and you're just going to stay sick. So I thought that was a good analogy, that blind doubt is never going to be useful. You're not going to get anywhere in life. I also came across a blog from Sutapa Prabhu. So he has his Tattva blog online and in a book, and he talks about this same concept of having sort of blind faith and blind doubt, and how we can use doubt to our advantage. So I'll just read just a quick paragraph or two from that. So he goes, in our modern world, we have many different terms which act as subtle put-downs for practitioners of religion or spirituality. Recently, someone referred to me as a man of faith. I thought that was quite interesting. Factually speaking, everyone in this world has faith in something. Without it, you couldn't function as a progressive being. If we refuse to place our faith in a spiritual tradition, we simply repose it elsewhere. In a recent conversation with the same person, I expressed that there have been numerous archaeological findings over the last century that are challenging our understanding of the history of humankind. His response? He didn't ask me what the research was, who conducted it, when it was published, how reliable it is, and how he could find out more. Rather, he categorically denied the claim, making sweeping statements that such evidence couldn't possibly exist. People are very cautious not to blindly believe in anything. But isn't such a demonstration of blind doubt just as dangerous? The fact is, blind anything is bad. To accept or reject something are both acts that should be performed with due intelligence and discrimination. In today's world, certain theories and worldviews are accepted as irrefutable, undisputed scientific fact. Whereas anything which smells of spirituality is treated with incredible suspicion and doubt from the very onset. We may be very careful not to blindly believe, but we may neglect invaluable wisdom, knowledge, and insight into the world due to the tendency towards blind doubt. So yeah, that was from his blog, and yeah, for me, I guess, from what I understood, it's kind of talking about how sometimes people, they'll just outright just reject things without even, using their intelligence and discrimination, just, blindly doubting it. And that's a bad thing, because by doing that, we're not using our intelligence or discrimination. Like the Bhagavatam verse was saying before, doubt is a function of our intelligence. So if we just don't use doubt in the right way, then we're just not using our intelligence, which isn't good. And also, Sudapa mentions how it's a dangerous thing as well, because then we might miss out on like a complete whole different perspectives in life. And that the same goes for Krishna consciousness as well. We might just miss out on Krishna and just miss out on the whole essence of life. So yeah, I thought this was a very interesting sort of thing between, intelligent doubt and blind doubt. And we should always strive to have that intelligent doubt. And yeah, I guess that is basically coming to an end for this. So, we looked at sort of Arjuna's doubt towards Krishna, what is happening to someone who is not in material life and not in spiritual life. They've renounced material life and they've fallen down from spiritual life. And he has this doubt, but he humbly, submissively inquires to Krishna, and he gets out of that drought of doubt, and that we can do through faith, and not blind faith though. The best kind of thing we can do that is with intelligent doubt, and that's how we can use doubt to our advantage and to help us progress in our Krishna consciousness and in our spiritual life, and get to know Krishna. So that is the end on my behalf. Thank you so much for listening. And if there are any questions, criticisms, please, now is your time. We have, I think, a minute. So, yes, Himesh Prabhu, I think Bisha will get you the mic. Yeah, so people online can hear. It'll be good if you can use the mic. No worries, Himesh.
Hello?
Hello. Hare Krishna.
How does one develop their faith in Krishna consciousness? Can you give us some practical tips on how we can develop our faith?
Yeah, good question. So I was mentioning 3 points at the class. So Sutapa was mentioning these points in one of our Bhakti Shastri lessons. And so he said 3 things we can practically do to develop our faith was, reading. He said reading philosophy is the first one, associating with those who have faith, and then spiritual practice, regular spiritual practice. So those are 3 practical things that he gave. This is something which we do generally every day anyway in our daily life here at the temple. And so if we do those 3 things here, then, that will gradually help us develop faith. It's not like a thing that will happen overnight, obviously, like, well, okay, let me do these 3 things for a couple of days and I'll get loads of faith. It does take time. And so patience is required for this. But at the same time, we want to be patient and at the same time have that urgency so that we're actually doing all of these things. Because if we have too much, let's say, patience, we kind of get complacent. Yeah, it's fine, I can take my time with it. I can read a bit later and stuff. We also at the same time have to balance that with urgency. Again, Sutapa, most of my references for this class are from Sutapa, but some of you might remember Sutapa did a brahmachari class a few weeks ago, and even on the PS trip, where he's talking about how we have to always balance between 2 moods in spiritual life. And so specifically, we need patience and also urgency. And if we balance those, if we do those 2 things in a balanced way, and we do those 3 practical, and use that in a way where we can do these 3 practical things of, reading, associating with those who have faith, and having regular spiritual practice, then naturally we'll develop more faith. I hope that makes sense, answers your question. Yeah. Yes, please.
So what if someone practices all of those 3 practical tips, but still they don't see Krishna in their life? What then?
So you're doing all these 3 things, but still you feel like...
Yeah, still my faith hasn't increased because I haven't seen Krishna's hand in my life.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think coming to that same point of, being patient, because I can relate to that as well. I feel like coming here, I've been doing those 3 things as well, but it's not like I've been directly like, okay, oh my God, I've seen Krishna or experiencing Krishna like that. But I think it is something that does require patience. And also, we do need to make ourselves receptive to Krishna as well. So I think we can do these external things, but internally, if we're not doing it in the right mood, then we won't actually experience Krishna like that. So it's important that we also internally, change ourselves as well and have the right mood when doing these things. And so, if we do it sincerely, if we do it without expectation as well, sometimes we can be like, okay, I'm going to do these things and, I'm doing this so that I can, experience Krishna, experience some bliss, or, have like a crazy magical story about, Krishna doing something, crazy in my life. Again, we shouldn't have that expectation as well. We need to do it in a sincere way, without expectation, and do it with faith as well. Do it with strong faith, and then we will have that. So I think making sure we have the right internal attitude, and also persevering with the process, and having that patience, that balance of patience and urgency with doing these external things. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah. If there's any other questions, otherwise we can end it here. No, that's good. Don't force it. Okay. Jay, thank you so much, guys. Oh, Vishal? Hare Krishna. Yeah. That's okay. That's a good question. How can we ask good questions? Yeah, that's good. It reminds me, I guess, one story that I heard. So when Srila Prabhupada, before he came to the West, before he was a sannyasi, and when he was first sort of getting to know Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, his spiritual master, he would obviously visit him often, and he would write to him. And Prabhupada mentioned this actually to his disciples, I think, in a class or in a conversation. And he told his disciples that he didn't actually ask his spiritual master that many questions. He said he didn't ask him that many questions, but he said every time he did ask him a question, or every time he did speak to him, actually, he said that behind everything that he said to his spiritual master or asked, the underlying question behind it was, how can I serve you? That was underlying everything that Prabhupada did to his spiritual master, and he just had that strong mood of service to the spiritual master. So I think that's always like really resonated with me, like the point of anything that we ask, especially to like a senior or spiritual master, is ultimately it should come back to how can we serve them, because that's when we'll get the mercy, get the purification. And so I think that's one thing that kind of comes to mind with that. I guess that's kind of what mainly comes to mind. But if anyone else has anything to share to that, any other points on how can we ask good questions? Ian, you might have something to share. You ask many good questions, so.
That's what it is. The questions you ask are only as relevant as how they're able to help people depending on service. So asking questions, it's like I was saying, it starts by Maharaj. And some guy was asking questions, and then Maharaj just asking randomly again, like, what's the point of all these questions? Because he was not asking these questions in a way to deepen his devotional intelligence. It was just to have an exchange with the sadhu. But really, you want to ask questions that, or at least as far as I understand, to be wrong as well, that are individually helpful to how you're engaging yourself in your bhakti life. And so, underlying with every question, it's like, how's that going to help me engage much better in Krishna consciousness? And go deeper in my bhakti. So whatever answers you get, then you can actually apply them. Otherwise, it's just a wording exchange. And then, a judging of material intelligence, which is not really useful. So you hit them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Yeah, it's something that we should also think like, okay, is this going to help me with my spiritual life, or am I just asking for just the sake of asking a question, or for some other ulterior motive? So ultimately, I think that's right. It should come down to that, and that's why I think mood comes in as well when we're asking questions. Like sometimes we can ask it in not the right mood, like we might just be challenging for the sake of just being challenging, or stirring something up, or causing a scene, and not having any intent to think about how we can change ourselves. And so I think doing it in the right mood is also an aspect of asking good questions. Asking sincerely, submissively, just like Arjuna ask his questions to Krishna. Yeah. Jai, okay. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. You can put it next to the sound system.